We got a cranky lady in the business center.
I think that's the name of the episode, right?
Cranky lady in the business center. We're live?
Oof.
We are.
Oof. We do brighter.
No, back where they were.
Ooh, that's bright.
We're a little blown out now.
Oh, we're
That's
too
good.
bright? Too bright? Who can you see? He can't see, right?
No.
He can see.
You're
He can
good.
see you. I think
You guys are
we're good.
beautiful.
Okay, we're here. We're back. Episode number, I guess this will be what?
Episode one? Yeah.
We brought you episode 0. We kind of skipped episode 1. This should probably be episode 2.
Well, episode 1, we just would have talked about the same thing we talked about. So,
Right. Episode 1 is the missing episode. Let's just be that. So
Yep.
this will be episode 2, week 2.
Two.
See that way? See how it correlates there?
Yep.
Okay. We got Juice live. Where are you live from, Juice?
Outside of the business center in Scottsdale, the Embassy Suites.
Poolside, right?
Poolside.
Right. So you would think that one who is going to Zoom in a podcast might do it from like the business center, but you're not in the business center. Why are we not? Why are we not in the business center?
I got booted from the business center. A lady was not liking our conversation, so.
What were we talking about? This will be
we were
inside
talking
joke
about
number 1.
We're talking about our autistic friends and their kids, I think.
Oh my God. Christina, if you watch this, I was not talking about Sullivan. We were talking about Donnie.
No, yeah.
Anyway, Juice was asked kindly to leave the business center. I don't know.
I don't know about
I
kind.
don't know how kindly it was.
I don't think as kindly is the word I would have used.
With some direct quotes from our conversation thrown in. It's the best thing that's ever happened on the Pivot. I'm sorry that it was not brought to you live. It's probably the funniest thing that's happened pre-show since Jared's wallet got stolen. Can we agree to that?
I think that would have gone completely viral. That
Yeah, it was so good.
Like I said, it would have been a
was so
perfect
good.
short.
Okay,
It
for
would get us
people
a
that
step
do listen to the
forward.
show, we were sitting there getting ready to do show, and all of a sudden in the mics we hear someone's voice say, after Julio had warned us about cussing on the mic, and tell Julio if that was a personal call, that he was in the business center, and the business basically Juice needed to get the fuck out of the business center.
She couldn't handle it.
Juice is
She
now
was too busy.
poolside.
Poolside. And I was trying to give my real opinions, but Matt told me to stop talking, so I respected that request.
Once she started talking, I stopped talking altogether. I was not going to say another word until he was out of that business center. Anyway, it was nice to meet you, Karen. And this show is definitely dedicated to you. You definitely made my life a little bit better today. So
Her name was Karen, I think.
yeah, I see Ming is live. Ming, you missed it. It was the best.
Oh, man, that was so good.
Oof. Yeah.
So good.
Okay, well, let's do some show. That was great. Anyway, we're back. The Pivot. We're live from Crybaby Hill. We're brought to you by Mass Bank.
Nice.
Pretty much innovators in the banking world.
Yep.
Right? And we're executively produced by Toby B. O'Keaney. And we got Juice and Jared. We got Juice live from the poolside.
Yep.
And we're ready to go with week 2. Let's hit some hindsight, Julio. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? I think let me answer that first. Nuking Jared's first lineup was the smartest thing we did of the weekend. Is that correct?
Oh my gosh, that was.
No, wait. I tested this. I kept all 3 lineups, and all 3 of them were relatively close. Of course, the one that I started was the least out of the 3, but it still did good.
That's not shocking to anybody. Nobody in the industry. Jared hit us with the Mingo Mims double rookie stack. Right off the gate.
Yeah, it was.
Right out of the gate. Let's just roll the dice. Baby.
I mean, he was
Let's
2
just
hours
go.
early on that too. Like usually, I'm trying to get lineups 5 minutes before to see previews. 2 hours before a kickoff, I'm getting Mingo Mims. Anyway, I love it.
I still cashed on that lineup.
Jared is not afraid to press some buttons. Is
Nope.
that correct? That lineup fucking cashed?
Yep, got the cashed.
He was in an 8-man tournament.
No, it's DraftKings. No, it was the Millionaire Maker DraftKings.
He was playing heads up
I
against
kept Tua on that one,
his-
and he was the highest scoring.
cashed in the heads up match against his 10-year-old cousin.
And
Yeah,
Nico
he did a
Collins
heads
did
up
good.
with his kid.
All the sounds are gonna be super loud today.
That's true. Yeah, the sounds are super loud. I wish we were back in the business center. Why aren't we in the business center for this?
I can go back if you want.
That would make the show too great.
I feel like we're on an episode of Friends with that. It's great.
Okay, Juice, give us some real hindsight. What did we see? What did you see out of week 1?
Well, so first of all, I think I was listening to another show, and they said it was the least amount of touchdowns ever produced collectively in week 1. So it was a really low scoring week as a whole. I really took a lot of sort of stands last week. I was really high on Tyreek Hill. That obviously worked out. I was really high on Calvin Ridley. That worked out. I was really high on J.K. Dobbins. That
was working out.
It was working out.
It was working out, and then he got injured. I think my biggest stand that didn't work out was I was really I almost pushed all the chips in on Marvin Mims Jr. and he did absolutely nothing. I think he had 2.9 points. So got some things right, and then it got some things really wrong.
Yeah, I think Mims was highly played across the industry. Coming in at 3,000.
He was 8% owned.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
In which league?
In DraftKings.
Okay. I like it. What about you, Jared? What hindsight did you take from week 1?
I should have just stuck with my guns and
played
Tua on all my lineups.
Oh,
I loved Tua last week. And he was the highest scoring QB, and Tyreek Hill was the highest scoring wide receiver.
Yeah. What do you think that's something that we can count on consistently? Or
I think they're going to be pretty awesome throughout this entire year. I don't expect them to do that every single week, but
right.
I think they're going to be really good.
Juice, some players that might have surprised you week 1, and some players that kind of got on your concern list after week 1.
Well, I mean, it wasn't on the main slate, but the Chiefs kind of concerned me a little bit.
Yeah. Who are you starting in that?
Well, that's the thing. It's it's just such a musical chairs with their receiving core
and running backs.
And running backs. It's just very sort of influx. Now, we didn't have Kelsey last week, so I think he's coming back this week. So
looks like it.
I'm hoping that opens things up a little bit. How about the Cowboys and the Giants, dude? That was
what an embarrassing game.
I'm telling you, that's such a tradition like none of the other. Sunday night in Vegas, fired up to watch a game, and by the halftime, you're down on the floor doing something else because that game just is terrible every year. It's every time it's Dallas, New York on Sunday night, it just turns out to be a terrible game.
Yeah, well, just the Cowboys' defense looked, as good as any defense I've ever seen. I don't know if that's them or if that's the Giants, but wow. It just the Giants couldn't do anything. At all.
Their O-line was pretty terrible, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any last words on week 1 hindsight before we transition
Puka Nacua, 15 targets, week 1. Matt Stafford's top target with Cooper Kupp coming out. Did either of you see that happening?
We knew that those two little, Otwell and whatever the other one.
Atwell, yeah.
Atwell and the other one, they're just little quick receivers, and they seem to be open. So I can't see that going away for the Rams.
Puka Nacua was
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua. I think I'm saying his name right.
Puka Nacua? What? I'm not even trying to make a
Puka
Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
Okay.
He was tied for the the highest targeted wide receiver last week with Tyreek Hill with 15 targets.
Oh, that's amazing. I did not know that. That's surprisingly. How did the Millionaire Maker get one?
All right, Millionaire Maker. The Millionaire Maker lineup had Tua for quarterback, Eckler,
okay,
Walker,
okay, with the snowflake,
yep, Kendrick Bourne,
okay,
Brandon Ayuk,
okay,
Calvin Ridley, Hurts at tight end for Carolina.
Yeah, I had him in my original build.
Tyreek Hill in the flex.
I had him in my original build.
And then the Commanders as their defense.
Had them in my original build.
And they scored a total of 233 points.
That's a low-scoring Millionaire Maker, right, Juice?
Yeah, it was a low. Like I said, it was an extremely low-scoring week. I think it also shows that you got a snowflake in the Millionaire winning lineup with Kenneth Walker. So,
yep.
again, I think that speaks kind of volumes about last week.
Yeah, 158 score one Rays League. Shout out to Gardy finishing top 5. Juice in the number 3 hole. Is that your? We got 50 people in Rays Leagues this year. You can finish as low as 49th and 50th.
Yeah.
So third sounds pretty darn good in this league, right?
It's a great start.
They increased the payouts to $700 per week too, by the way.
Oh, wow, nice.
So, so Gardy and Juice both in the top 5.
Yeah, Juice got third place with 157 points.
Buddy Newsom was up there. Both Jared and I finished top 15,
yep.
which seems good. Yeah. So anyway, good start. Let's. You want to? You ready, Jay? To
Let's do the 50-cent piece.
hear this music means we're about to give you 50-cent pieces, which is our way of talking about the games that are predicted by Vegas and the boys to go over 50 this week. Obviously, in building your DraftKings lineups, you want to play the games that got some points. So, Juice, are we playing a guessing game here? What are we doing?
Yeah, why don't you guys guess how many games are in the 50-cent piece bucket?
Now that Jared has the lines open.
I don't have the lines open. I'm just looking at the games. I don't ever cheat.
Yeah, right. No, you can't cheat with those answers.
Yeah, I think my history should say that I don't cheat.
That's fair.
If I did cheat, man, I'm a bad
Did you see
cheater.
that you can get your player exposures for every contest you do now? That's pretty cool. 50-cent pieces. I said I want money on the under, and we had yet to hear about Juice on who is going to win that bet.
Okay, so Matt won the under. There's
Obviously.
There's one game over 50.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Now, let me ask you this. How many games do you think are projected to go under 40? Not another projected high-scoring week this week.
Well, the last week proved that it can be tough certain weeks.
So let me tell you that the 150-cent piece is the Chiefs Jaguars in Jacksonville. That's 51. The under 40 games are Colts and Texans 39.5.
Just testing.
The Giants Cardinals 39.5. The Jets Cowboys 38.5. Commanders Broncos 39. The Saints Panthers 39.5. And the Browns Steelers on Monday night 38.5 points.
Sexy weekend. Wow. Sexy.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oof. Yeah. Lots of oofs. Oof. 5 oofs. We won't do that. Okay. So since there's the 150-cent piece again was
Jacksonville.
Chiefs Jaguars.
Okay, that's not on the main slate either, right? Or is that a main slate?
Yeah, it's at noon.
That's
It
a main
is.
slate game? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Any game that you think is a sneaky over this week? I mean, how is Detroit-Seattle not over?
That is, I think it's one of the higher totals of the week, Matt. So good job. It's 47.
When we get in here to player ownership, do we have those coming up here?
I have all that stuff ready.
Let's just go ahead and transition. So in player ownership, I'm guessing that the Detroit-Seattle game is a highly owned game. That's my.
Well, let's start position by position. Let's you guys tell me who the highest owned quarterback projected this week is.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Zach Wilson at 4,900.
Oof.
Wow.
Definitely not Zach Wilson. He's like 20th. Trevor Lawrence is number 2.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Good job. Hold on. Here, now we'll hit this.
So this week, Josh Allen is number 1 at 12%. Trevor Lawrence is number 2 at 10.
Wait, we got to let the sounds drown out. I hit the wrong button again. I'm bad. That's my fault.
Oh gosh.
I'm terrible with the
Tell
buttons.
me when you're ready.
I'm trying.
Ready.
This is what I was looking for Jared. There we go.
So,
I just wanted a little golf clap.
So
Go
Josh
ahead.
Allen is 1. Trevor
Wow.
Lawrence is 2. Anthony Richardson is 3. Jared Goff is 4. Joe Burrow is 5, who, by the way, we didn't mention this, had maybe his worst week as a pro quarterback last week. It was brutal. Patrick Mahomes is behind him, Daniel Jones, and then Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert round out the top 10.
So what do you always say about quarterbacks, Julio?
Doesn't matter. Play whoever you like.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any ownership that you got to really concern yourself, right?
No. 12% is the highest owned quarterback.
We'll get into our picks when we start rounding up a lineup here. So let's transition over to let's give us some RBs.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys, highest owned RBs.
Let me just say, I predict you will not. Neither one of you will get this.
Well, I did really bad on the first one, so.
I'm gonna go with Barkley.
I'm gonna go with Williams.
Javonte Williams.
I was gonna go with Williams for the Rams. Or is he on the slate?
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, at $5,000, K. Williams.
No, not even close.
Okay, I'm off. I'm off and running here.
Yeah, it's about as good as your Zach Wilson pick.
Okay. So, not good. So at least I'm on players that nobody's playing, right?
Yeah, and Jared, who did you say?
I said Saquon Barkley.
Okay, Saquon. He is like 15th, I think.
Oh wow!
Wow, we're not even close.
Not good at all.
So here's your top 10. James Conner is number 1.
Wow. Yeah, I would have never got. I thought he was banged up.
No. Joe Mixon is number 2. James Cook is 3. Javonte Williams is 4. Damian Pierce is 5. Kenneth Walker is 6. Montgomery 7th. Josh Jacobs is 8th. Christian McCaffrey is 9th. And Derrick Henry, show favorite, rounds out the top 10.
Montgomery surprised me how good he looked on opening night.
He got a lot of carries, a lot of touches.
Gibbs they both look good. Both Detroit's running backs look good. Okay, let's man, those are loud. Wide receivers.
I think you guys will do better at this position.
That's always encouraging. I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill.
I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley.
Wow, Jared is like in mid-season form. Number 1, Calvin Ridley.
Number 1, nice.
Tyreek Hill, is he on the main slate?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, no, wait. They don't do Sunday night games, so.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. He's not on the main slate.
Hold on. Let me fire another guess here. I mean, he got number 1, so screw my guess. I guess is worthless at this point.
I will say this. You guys have mentioned him earlier in the show.
Is it Nico Collins?
No.
Atwell?
Oh, no. Puka
Nacua.
Puka Nacua is number 2.
Wow. Yeah, makes sense. What are they making you pay for him this week?
Like 49, I think.
4,900.
Okay. And everybody's favorite?
So top 10, Calvin Ridley, Puka, Devontae Adams at 3, Sun God at 4, who's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, yes, T. Higgins, Stephon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk, who had a monster game, Zay Flowers, and Deebo Samuel.
0 point T. Higgins last week. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of a fluky game. He did have like 8 targets, I think.
So let's I already transitioned over to tight end here. I'm going to go with Higbee as my guess to get it in there early. What do you got there? I don't know why I like Higbee. I'm just guessing at this point.
Man, I still don't really know with tight ends. I'll go with gotta keep my streak going. Maybe is Ingram up there?
Not really. I'll give you a hint. He didn't play last week.
Oh, Travis Kelce?
There you go. Travis
nice.
Kelce. Yeah.
Wow, we were on
He's
that.
number 1. So top 10 tight ends, Kelce 1, Zach Ertz 2, Jake Ferguson 3, Luke Musgrave, who I played a lot of last week, is 4, Mark Andrews 5, Chigakonkwu 6, Logan Thomas 7th, Adam Troutman 8, Big Irv Smith, another show favorite, ninth, and then Cole Kmet rounds out the top 10.
All right.
I didn't hear Higbee. Did you hear Higbee in that list?
No,
Oh, wow.
I did not hear Higby.
Not doing good. Okay, well, moving on to things I do know. So, any thoughts on the ownership overall? There doesn't seem to be a favored game like there has been in the past.
I mean, we only have one 50-cent piece, and it's a 51 total, so it's not like it's an absolute projected shootout. So I think ownership is really kind of spread out quite a bit this week.
It's almost like another week one, right? Like it's interesting.
Yep.
Okay, you guys ready to build a lineup for the folks?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do. So, as you all know, we are playing in a league where it is the Sunday-Monday slate. So, the Sunday night and Monday night game is included. We refer to it as Ray's League, and there are 50 people in this year. So, we are still kind of building in the cash lineup type build, right? Trying to keep the points high. You get $700 for winning each week, and first, second, and third will chop up the remainder of the prize pool at the end of the year. So, Juice, you said you got some fire for us this week?
I hope so.
I'm going to start with Jared, and then I'll give you mine. Jared, let's hear your favorite stack of the week.
My favorite stack.
What are you going to sell me on this week?
Probably Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley.
So that's the highly owned Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley.
I like it a lot.
Are you running it back with anyone?
I mean, if I kind of like playing Travis Kelce because who else you can run it back with? Everybody else is a mystery. Kadarius Toney dropped the ball 4 times last week, and there's no other piece in Kansas City that you can feel comfortable running it back with.
Juice, thoughts on his build?
Well, yeah. So I like it. I went to University of Kansas, so I got a lot of Kansas City Chiefs friends, and I was in a group chat with a bunch of my buddies. Man, Kadarius Toney, if he's still alive, I think people want him dead in Kansas City. He had a brutal game. I mean,
it was bad.
Drops galore. I mean, I think he single-handedly lost the Chiefs that game.
Oh yeah.
Here's the question: will he bounce back this week, or more of the same? I don't know. It's a good question. I do like the Kelce sort of bring back. I think that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. Especially in Ray's League, because again, it's more like a cash type build as opposed to like a big GPP kind of throwing darts type play.
You ready for mine?
Yeah.
I built with Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and ran it back with the Sun God.
Okay.
Don't even mind running like multi-component parts of that game. If you want to go like Geno Smith, DK, run it back with Laporta and Sun God, or Josh Reynolds and Sun God. I kind of like building a four stack instead of a 3 stack with these. I think you could play multi pieces if you even want to. I feel like this could be a game where you could stack a lot. I feel like it's going to be a high scoring game, but I feel like that's what everybody's going to think too, right?
Yep.
I feel like it's going to be.
Let me throw a Amon-Ra St. Brown stat at you. So in the last 21 starts for Amon-Ra, in 20 of those games, he has had 8 or more targets.
Wow.
So
used to be all about the Sun God.
I still love him.
Is he in your lineup?
I've put him in a few. Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that was a pretty interesting stat for Amon-Ra. I mean, he's clearly getting the looks. I like that game too, Matt. I'm surprised how in lockstep we are. But I'm going to go the other side. I want some Jared Goff action.
I'm a fan of Goff.
Yeah, pairing him with Amon-Ra, maybe even a double stack with Sam Laporta at tight end, who got quite a bit of action last week, rookie tight end. I don't mind that, and there's a lot of other pieces we can sort of run Seattle back with. So I like that game quite a bit. I think it's a sneaky game.
So if we were gonna, I'm assuming that Jared's not gonna bat. What do you think about that game?
I like that game. I mean, I'm a fan of playing St. Brown in like literally every week.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to be offense first type of game. So I mean, I get it. I get why you like it.
Nice. Do we want to put? Because I went ahead and put Golf and St. Brown in. Do we want to put a run back in right now as we build, or we want to wait and see what kind of allows us to run back? Maybe.
Look, why don't we plug in a defense right now? That's usually kind of how we build. We get that out of the way.
Yeah, I've got the quarterback wide receiver stack, no run back, and we'll go with let's head to defense. Jared, you got a cheap defense that you're promoting this week?
I don't really like any of the ones that are super low. I think my favorite is probably the Giants because they're playing Arizona, and they don't even look that cheap. They're
not cheap. That's why.
They're
3,800.
No, I don't. I have no direction here. I would need help figuring out the cheap defense this week.
My first build, Juice. I've been stacking Henry and their Titans defense. They're super cheap. They're playing at home. They're playing a Chargers team that does turn the ball over from time to time and gives up some sacks. That's all I'm looking for is cheap with some points. What's your thoughts?
I'll tell you what. I'm almost going straight bottom of the barrel, taking the Raiders this week. They're $2,200. There's one thing we know about Josh Allen in the last year or two. He turns the ball over, right?
For sure.
He throws interceptions. He fumbles. He presses quite a bit. I'm just looking for like a pick six or something at 2,200, and I'm feeling good about the Raiders. So I don't know. Just a cheap defense we can maybe plug in there.
I like that. I was watching a podcast the other day. There's two things that Josh Allen does. He either plays really good or just really bad.
So you guys, you know me, I've kind of gotten over the last couple years. I'm a big, my teams have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Correlate. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm a big correlator. I like stacking a defense with a running back. It makes sense. The math makes sense. Are you guys a defense with a running back type stackers these days?
Yeah. I'm glad Matt, I'm glad you made that point, because here's a guy that I really sort of like to bounce back this week. Josh Jacobs with Las Vegas. He got a lot of touches. He's in overwhelming majority of the team snaps. And I think he's relatively cheap this week.
7,100. He's a lot cheap. Yeah, he's cheaper than other people he's cheaper than Pollard, Henry. He's not as cheap as Etienne, who I kind of like, but yeah, I like Jacobs against the Bills. I think that they're definitely going to have to utilize him a lot, I would think. If they're going to have any chance of winning that game, he's going to have a big game.
And remember, he can catch the ball too, right? So I think the game script kind of is in his favor a little bit either way.
Jared, you got thoughts on Jacobs?
I like it a lot. I mean, he's a high volume running back with, like Juice said, catching opportunities every single week. He had 3 targets and 19 carries, and I like it. I like the matchup. Buffalo isn't really that great against the running back, and we're running with their D, so I like that play.
Something we should kind of talk about now that we usually discuss prior is there so now that we kind of have a build base, is there any player that we're thinking has to be locked and loaded in this lineup? Is there one play that we have to have in this lineup now that we kind of have a base? Jared?
I mean, I like Calvin Ridley. I know everybody else does, but I think he's going to pay off pretty easily with that matchup and the volume he gets and the skill that he showed last week. But 7,200 doesn't seem like a high price to pay for what you can get out of him.
I'm certainly not going to complain about Ridley.
He almost, by the way, with Ridley, he almost had a second touchdown. So he could have had an absolute explosion last week. It's cool to see Trevor Lawrence with a true sort of alpha wide receiver. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot, moving forward this year. I think that offense is going to be really, really good.
I agree. So do you like Ridley as a lock and load?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
What about you? Do you have your own lock and load if we go with Ridley?
I think what I like about the Ridley call is I think he's still relatively underpriced. I mean, I can see him getting into the, sort of Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, 8K category here in a couple weeks. So we're still getting him at a bit of a discount. I'm looking here. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to go to Puka Nacua. I think a nice little pivot is Zay Flowers from Baltimore. He looked electric in week one.
He got a ton of looks.
Yeah, I mean they're really looking at ways to creatively get him involved in the game.
$5,000 seems to be a reasonable price.
Yeah,
we need a little savings.
Yeah,
I like Zay. You like Zay?
Yeah,
it's a game
I'll go with it.
Okay, so let's head over to. We got 2 running backs and a tight end left. If you are following along at home, Julio.
Do we have somebody in the flex?
Yeah.
I've got Goff, St. Brown, Flowers, Ridley, Jacobs in the flex, Titans D or Raiders D. Do you want Jacobs as a running back?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Opens up more options on the flex.
Okay. Let's move Jacobs to running back. Okay. So now we've got a running back, tight end, and a flex left. Tight end position. Jared, is anything that you've been loving at the tight end position that you'd want to sell juice on here?
Well, I don't think I have to sell him on it. I think that he made me aware of him, and it's Musgrave.
He missed a long touchdown. He almost had another long touchdown. Musgrave. He could have had a giant game himself. I don't mind Musgrave at 3,200. I think he's a smart play and a good matchup. What do you think, Juice?
I like Musgrave. What about double stack with Laporta and Goff?
Okay, I like that too.
Laporta's still cheap. I feel like Laporta
3,900, yeah,
is going to go up as his targets go up. I like that. I definitely feel like. So now we're left with 5,300. Running back flex. Cheap running back is going to be the key, I think, don't you, to this team right here, who we can afford.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on this one? We got Algier at 5,500 that had a huge game where we could run back. Oh, we didn't end up playing Musgrave. We have Herbert at 5,400 who had a decent first week, getting double digits. We got K. Williams at 5,000 playing against the toughest defense in the league. Hill, we already got Zay Flowers in the lineup, and Hill, you'd said that it's tough to fire. That's about it for the cheapness. What are your thoughts?
I like to run it back in the Detroit game with Kenneth Walker III at 5,800.
That's still relative.
It's relatively cheap. I mean, I think there's a lot of receivers that we can in the $5,000 to $4,500 range we can go to. In the flex.
Yep. I like it. What about you, Juice or Jared?
I like it. Yeah, Kenneth Walker seems like a great play, especially since we already have the other side of it, and Detroit's middle of the ground against the running backs, and he had some pretty good volume last week. And I like what we have available here on the flex. Like we got Dobbs against Atlanta, Nico Collins, bunch of good options.
Yeah, I don't mind. Nico Collins, show favorite, makes a lot of sense in this spot. What do you think, Juice?
I'm just kind of looking at something here as well.
He had 11 targets last week, Nico Collins. And his matchup is good this week against the Colts.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I really don't. I mean, I'm usually not a Nico guy, but I think he's established himself as the number one guy there.
I have not been a huge Nico guy, but I do believe that he is now firmly established himself as a one type in Houston, and for 4,800 he makes a lot of sense. So that was one of the quickest, easiest builds we've ever done. I hope that means so. Juice, in case you can't see it on your computer, we got Goff, Jacobs, Walker, Flowers, Ridley, St. Brown, Laporta, Collins, Raiders.
I like it.
I like it.
Sounds good to me.
I will tell you, I I do like the Collins pick. I'm not like saying I don't like that at all, but I'm just throwing a couple other names out there around that salary. Tutu Atwell for the Rams. Everybody's in love with Puka. He had 8 targets last week and hauled in 6.
I don't mind Atwell. Atwell's another great option. They're going to have to. They're not going to be able to run on. They're not going to run on the Rams. They're going to have to throw it. And I mean, Atwell seems to be the guy that gets open, and the other guy's banged up. So,
yeah. Another guy I like this week. Again, it's a high scoring game, but we're already got Calvin Ridley, but Zay Jones at $4,700.
I don't mind it.
Another good play.
Yeah, I like Zay. I like Atwell. I like Nico. That's about where I think it's a universe of those 3 for me. You could run back Smith and Jigba with Walker, and I don't think it's terrible. I think I think we could be early on him. I think he's going to have a big game sooner than later. So, but if I was firing right now, I'd probably go Atwell. If we were finishing this off, I like Atwell the most. What do you think, Jerry?
I like it. Well, I mean, I especially like him if Puka ends up not playing. He said he had some kind of injury he sustained yesterday, so I mean, if that's the case, they are probably going to have to throw the ball a lot. And who are they going to throw it to other than Atwell?
I like Atwell. What do you think, Juice?
I'm whatever you guys want to go there. I'm good with.